Hey there people, it's your favorite WeedleTwin Blood Moon bringing you all another Scarlet and Violet VGC video featuring this really fun Blood Moon Ursaluna Tinkaton team that I built. But before we get into the battles, if you all enjoy the narrated Pokemon battling content and want to support the channel, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. With the Indigo Disc released, there will be much more battling content with these fun meme teams coming soon, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the content to come. And big shoutouts to SP Crashworks for this fire thumbnail. They're a really good friend of mine who does a lot of art for Pokemon on Twitter, so if that does interest you, I'll leave a link to their Twitter in the description, and they also take commissions for like emotes and stuff, so they're really talented, and I just wanted to give them a shout out for the thumbnail. So my team today is packing Ursaluna and Tinkaton as well as Oranguru, as you saw in the thumbnail. We also have Tornadus and Iron Hands just for some, broken VGC glue to, glue together this meme team. And then we have Ogerpon, not Hearthflame or Wellspring or even Cornerstone, we're just using regular Ogerpon. So that's the team we'll be packing for this video, as my first opponent today is packing a rather scary team in Tornadus, Urshifu, Rillaboom, Fluttermane, their own Ogerpon, and Landorus T. And of course, my opponent has the basic trainer card to go alongside their basic team. I mean, I get that not everyone cares about like the trainer card customization and they just want to battle, or apparently shiny hunt because they just lead off with shiny Landorus and shiny Fluttermane. I get it, but the trainer card feature is like low-key the best thing they added in Scarlet and Violet, and that's my truth. So they're gonna intimidate my Ogerpon, giving me a Defiant increase, which is nice and all, but I'm not really gonna be able to use it this game because my opponent is going to Terastallize immediately into a Fairy type and just like annihilate my poor Ogerpon. I go for the Follow Me just because I'm like, well, I probably should protect my Oranguru because I need the Trick Room up. So that's basically what Ogerpon's on this team is for. It's just mainly for support so I can set up the Trick Room, but there's also like another mode I have on this team with the Ogerpon as well. But yeah, they're gonna bring in the Tornadus, another shiny from Legends Arceus as well, because it was in that like weird ball you only get from transferring from Legends Arceus. A Terra Fairy Digloom will knock out my Ogerpon. Unfortunately, Ogerpon will not be able to thrive in this battle, but it's okay because their sacrifice means I'm able to set up the Trick Room. And now, her iconic sister is about to come out and avenge her. So in comes the Tinkaton, and if Ogerpon cannot bonk the opponent, then Tinkaton will be bonking them. So we're going to activate our Room Service here, lowering our speed because that's what the Room Service does. It lowers your speed when Trick Room is active, and it's a consumable item, so pass the Life Orb over to the Tinkaton. My opponent's going to go for a Prankster Sunny Day to give Fluttermane more damage with that Photosynthesis, but unfortunately for them, I'm about to destroy them with this Terra Steel Life Orb boosted Gigaton Hammer into the Tornadus. I was predicting the Fluttermane to protect, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I target the Tornadus first, but yeah, we just one-shot it, which means I can go for Instruct, take some Life Orb damage first. We're gonna go for the Instruct into my Tinkaton, say another one, thank you. And now we're gonna go for that nice, delicious Gigaton Hammer into this Fluttermane. And it's just gonna annihilate it because it's weak to it, and Fluttermane's defenses aren't good on the physical side. Even if you invest in them, like, goodbye Fluttermane, it's what she deserves. Down goes Fluttermane. Tinkaton had to assert dominance real quick, who the prettier fairy type is. It's true. And now my opponent's gonna bring out their Urshifu, and then they're gonna bring out their Landorus T. So in comes the Scarf Landorus, and I'm like, okay, I can just play rough into the Urshifu. I can also ignore Intimidate thanks to Own Tempo, but I probably should have predicted this. My opponent goes for the Detect, as I choose to go for the play rough into the Urshifu, and unfortunately Detect's gonna block that. And I actually click the Instruct once again into my Tinkaton, but because I targeted the Urshifu, it's just going to target Urshifu once again. I could have targeted Landorus, and I do believe 2 play roughs would have KO'd the Landorus thanks to like Life Orb and stuff. But unfortunately, I made a misplay, and Tinkaton is gonna have to it's gonna have to just die. Unfortunately, the Stomping Tantrum will knock out my Tinkaton, so even though like she got 2 kills, she still has to die. So sadly, Tinkaton's gonna go down. But it's okay, because still some turns of Trick Room remaining, so I'm able to bring in my Ursaluna. And Ursaluna is going to annihilate them with the Blood Moon. Super Stab, like, it's such a strong attack. Blood Moon's able to one-shot the Urshifu, no Focus Sash on that Pokemon. And I could just go for the Instruct as they Rage Quit. So my opponent just DCs like in the middle of the turn, which is funny. I go for the Instruct into my Ursaluna, and I can just go for the Blood Moon once again into Landorus, and I do believe this just one-shots it. I'm glad the turn plays out when the opponent DCs. It used to just like cut off the turn halfway through. They were able to see Landorus T die to Blood Moon, and we're able to defeat our opponent. They actually DC, so you don't see like that we beat them, but yeah, we're able to defeat our opponent thanks to Tinkaton and Blood Moon Ursaluna sweeping under Trick Room. I got to showcase the Instruct mechanic with Blood Moon and Gigaton Hammer, which is pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed that battle. Let's move on to the next one. My next opponent today is packing Iron Hands, Landorus T again, Fluttermane again, Heatran, Roaring Moon, and Amoonguss. So overall, a rather standard team. And they are taking a selfie with their Roaring Moon, so you already know. They're going to lead off with their Roaring Moon and their Iron Hands, their Eisen Hand. I like that. I don't know what language that is, but I like that name for it. It's funny. They're going to lead off with their Paradox Pokemon, activate their Photosynthesis with their Roaring Moon into attack. So I'm like, oh, I could follow me and redirect the knockoff and stuff, but I know Iron Hands gets Fake Out, right? And they're probably going to Fake Out into my Ogerpon and just knock off into my Oranguru. And I could Pterodactyl to cover for knockoff, but then I lose my Life Orb. So I decide to bring in my Iron Hands immediately, activating the booster energy, passing over the Life Orb thanks to Symbiosis. And my opponent does go for the Fake Out into my Iron Hands, as they're able to tank it, and my opponent's gonna go for a knockoff, but because we passed over that Life Orb, we're able to live, and I actually go for the Encore, why? Into the Iron Hands, locking it into Fake Out, so now my opponent has to switch out, or else they're just, it's a useless slot. So they're going to switch out of the Iron Hands, and they're going to bring out their Fluttermane, as because the Iron Hands was forced to switch out, I basically got a free target into this Roaring Moon with the Fake Out, doing a big chunk of damage thanks to that Life Orb and the booster energy and attack. The Roaring Moon's going to flinch, as now I'm able to set up a Trick Room with my Oranguru. So we pass over the Life Orb, get that booster energy, Iron Hands on the field, and now we can abuse it under Trick Room with this Super Stab Thunder Punch. Or I guess it's not like Super Stab because it's like not Terror, but you know what I mean. It's super juiced up with that booster energy Life Orb. One-shotting Fluttermane. Once again, one-shotting Fluttermane 2 battles in a row is pretty satisfying, as now we're going to go for the Instruct, and even though Roaring Moon resists this Thunder Punch, it's still going to do a pretty good chunk of damage, doing like around half, which is pretty respectable. And now the Roaring Moon is like, okay, let me get rid of this Oranguru because it's pissing me off. So down goes my Oranguru, but it's okay. I set up the Trick Room, I passed over the Life Orb, I'm happy. So down goes Oranguru. As now I'm able to bring in my Ursaluna, and Ursaluna can also sweep under Trick Room. They're going to bring in their Heatran here, and this is kind of obvious, but they're going to Terrestrialize into a Fairy type. I probably could have covered for this better, but I decided to play it safe, go for a Hyper Voice to get my Throat Spray, and, you know, sweep harder next turn under Trick Room. Down goes the Roaring Moon to the Hyper Voice. We're going to activate our Throat Spray, giving us a special attack increase. As now, I can just go for the Drain Punch. I could have clicked Thunder Punch to cover for the Terra Fairy and knock out the Heatran, but it's okay. It's not really the biggest deal, as you're able to recover some HP. And the Heatran just goes for the Earth Power anyways. And even without Assault Vest, my Iron Hand's just able to tank it because it's just so bulky. They're going to get a special defense drop, which is kind of funny. Is now they're going to bring in their Iron Hands once again. And now, I'm going to Terrestrialize my Ursaluna into a normal type, get that same type attack bonus like Super Stat, as they're going to Drain Punch into my Ursaluna, bringing me down to 69 HP, so funny. As now, I'm going to go for the Super Stab Hyper Voice, knocking off the Heatran, and doing around half to Assault Vest Iron Hands, which is pretty impressive considering like Assault Vest Iron Hands is basically unkillable. If you fought against AV Iron Hands like a singular time, like you know what I'm talking about, this Pokemon just does not die. But a Life Orb, Booster Energy as well, like close combat, just knocks out their Iron Hands as we're able to defeat our opponent thanks to our Trick Room Sweeper. So hopefully you all enjoyed that battle. It's pretty fast paced, but I wanted to showcase that turn 1 especially just because I was really proud of that play. But yeah, let's move on to the next battle where stuff doesn't quite go my way. My next opponent today is actually a fellow YouTuber. His name is PokeBurm, and he also does VGC content with some off-meta strategies like me. And he's a really nice guy, and we happened to run into him on the ladder, so I figure I would give him a shout out. So definitely check out his channel if you want another VGC creator. He's pretty underrated. And the team he's packing today is pretty cool. He's packing Chi-Yu, Rillaboom, and Iron Bundle, which are pretty meta. But then he has Gengar, Salamence, and Magnezone, which are pretty heat, so I can respect it. And he has a Fire Trainer card. Like, look at that selfie with Monkey Dory. I love it. I love it. So yeah, PokeBurm is going to be leading off with the Gengar and Iron Bundle. So I was kind of expecting this Gengar to be an Imprisoned Trick Room set, just because, like, his Trick Room answer on this team didn't look too great. And usually when you see like a random Ghost type or Psychic type on a team, they probably have Imprisoned Trick Room. So I was really reading into that for some reason. I don't know why. I was just like so sure this is Imprisoned Trick Room Gengar. So they click the Icy Wind, with the Iron Bundle, which would have given me a Defiant increase, but I mean, I would have died to like a Sludge Bomb. So I just clicked Spiky Shield just to play it safe, as they're going to lower my speed, and we see they are Trick with the Gengar, and I'm like, oh, I should not have clicked this because I go for the Encore. Like, why would I click Encore? But like I mentioned, I thought they would click Imprison, and they would also have Trick Room so I could lock them into Imprison, but then they also go for the Encore and lock me into Spiky Shield, so that's really bad for me. I'm just locked into Spiky Shield now, as Gengar is going to give my Oranguru some Choice Specs, which is really bad because that messes up my symbiosis strategy. Like, he threw me off my rhythm completely with this Trick Gengar, and now I am locked into Choice Specs Trick Room. So things are looking pretty bad right now. I have to switch out. So I'm like, okay, let me switch out of Oranguru first. So I switch out of Oranguru into my Tinkaton, because if I did it the other way around and swapped out my Ogerpon into Tinkaton, then the room service would have activated, and then I would have gotten the Symbiosis Choice Specs, which is not what I wanted. So I switched out my Oranguru into the Tinkaton, and I switched out my Ogerpon, who was locked in the Spiky Shield, and I bring in my Tornadus. So I double switch there, as PokeBurm's also going to switch out of his Gengar just because he is locked into Trick because of my Encore, so he has to switch out unless he wants to keep spamming Trick. He's going to bring in Chi-Yu and, you know, activate the Beads of Ruin, and going to miss a Hydro Pump into my Tinkaton just because Tinkaton's a skinny legend. Like, she has to slay. And she's going to Terra Steel right now. PokeBurm is going to protect the Iron Bundle, trying to just sell out the Trick Room turns, which is fair. I go for the Side Swagger into my Tinkaton, give me +2 attack, and because of my own tempo ability, we're able to avoid the confusion. And now I'm just praying that a +2 like Terra Steel Gigaton Hammer can knock out this Chi-Yu, and thankfully it knocks out the Chi-Yu. So the damage calc one-shotting Pokemon got a taste of their own medicine being one-shot through a resist. Like, how does it feel, Chi-Yu? How does it feel? But now PokeBurm's going to bring in the Rillaboom, and I'm expecting him to want to fake out into Tinkaton. He could fake out into Torn, but Torns usually carry Covert Cloak, and he doesn't know that I'm like wide lens so I don't miss Swagger into myself. So yeah, I'm going to bring in my Oranguru here. My Choice Specs Oranguru, go for Protect to also get the Gigaton Hammer back, because you can't actually click Gigaton Hammer 2 turns in a row. Like, the game will legit not let you. It's pretty funny. So we're going to guard ourselves from the fake out Hydro Pump play, and now I can proceed to click the Gigaton Hammer, but PokeBurm's going to play around the Gigaton Hammer, Terra Fire his Rillaboom so he resists it. Goes for Protect once again with the Iron Bundle. I feel like he's being a little too afraid with this Iron Bundle under Trick Room, but I also get it, because Tinkaton's at +2 attack, and he doesn't want me to one-shot the Iron Bundle, because it's like the fastest mod on this team. So I'm going to go for the Gigaton Hammer and Instruct, just to double target down this Rillaboom, because I figure, like, Rillaboom's probably a bigger threat. So I go for the Gigaton Hammer, and even though he Terra Fired, I'm going to hit him twice with that Specs Instruct. That's so goofy. Knock out his Rillaboom with the double Gigaton Hammer. And down goes the Terra Fire Rillaboom, unable to do anything besides click Fake Out. And now my Trick Room is going to expire here, I do believe. Yeah, Trick Room expires, which is unfortunate because now we can bring in his Gengar and proceed to click some attacks into me. So I'm basically praying that my Tinkaton can live here. They go for the Hydro Pump. It does do a lot of damage, and now the Gengar is going to hit me with the Life Orb Shadow Ball that he stole from my Oranguru, and unfortunately, the Tinkaton's going to live with 13 HP. And now I'm able to go for Instruct, because Trick Room expired. I can actually Instruct before Tinkaton moves and go for a third Gigaton Hammer, and that's going to one-shot whoever I target into. I believe it targets into Gengar. Yes, I target into Gengar, knocking it out, and then he Curse Bodies and disables my Gigaton Hammer, which is just so funny. So now I cannot click Gigaton Hammer, like, at all. Like, he said no more Gigaton Hammers. And now we're gonna miss the Play Rough, just because Play Rough's the worst move in the game. I swear Play Rough accuracy is just not listed properly or coded properly. There's something about Play Rough, just the worst feeling move to click, like even beyond like Focus Blast and Hydro Pump and Stone Edge, because at least like those moves are strong right when they hit, but Play Rough is just like, okay, that's my Fairy Stab, and it's like inconsistent. Meanwhile, Moonblast can just no, the difference between Play Rough and Moonblast deserves like a rant. Anyways, in comes the Ogerpon, and I'm gonna go for the Spiky Shield just because I don't want to get knocked out by a Freeze Dry. Maybe I could live it, but I just want to play it safe. Better be safe than sorry. I go for the Tailwind here. I need to get some speed control. I could have went for the Tailwind and Ivy Cudgel, and I probably just won the game by doing that, but I also wanted to show PokeBurm and just the viewers as well, like the extra combo I have with this Tornadus and Ogerpon. So they're gonna go for the Icy Wind. Grassy Terrain's gonna go away. And now I can show off my swagger into the Iron Bundle, and now I'm going to activate my Mirror Herb and copy that +2 attack from the swagger. So not only can I side swagger into Tinkaton, Ogerpon can get +2 attack by swaggering into the opponent, and I can just go for the Ivy Cudgel, knocking out the Iron Bundle, and we're able to defeat PokeBurm thanks to some good RNG with that Hydro Pump miss, but Tinkaton and Ogerpon just gave him some bonks, and we're able to defeat him. So hopefully you all enjoyed that battle. He definitely threw me off my game with that trick. I had to change up my game plan entirely. It was really cool though. Really cool team on his part, and definitely check him out. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed that battle, and let's move on to the last battle. My final opponent today is packing some sort of redirection plus setup team with like the nice Snorlax and maybe Sword Dance Iron Hands or Landorus next to Clefairy and Sinistra, so that's what I was expecting going into this battle. And they have a nice trainer card, nice Quagsire in their selfie, I like it. They're going to lead off with Clefairy and Snorlax. I'm going to lead off with Ogerpon and Tinkaton. And this is like a different lead. I don't normally lead off with this, but I was expecting some redirection plus setup strategy. So they just lead off with Clefairy Snorlax, go for the follow me, as I'm able to fake out the Snorlax stopping it from setting up, as I just choose to go for the Ivy Cudgel into the Clefairy. I could have went for Gigaton Hammer probably to one-shot it, but I wanted to stop the Snorlax from setting up immediately, just because I have a game plan. So now I'm going to switch out of Tinkaton. I got a nice lucky crit on the Ivy Cudgel. It does have a high crit chance, so I mean, I should expect crits sometimes, but unfortunate for the opponent because now I can just switch into my Oranguru instead of committing to the Gigaton Hammer. And I can just go for the Ivy Cudgel, knocking out the Clefairy, which is good for me. Now I'm just like hoping my opponent clicks Belly Drum. I'm like, oh, I know you want to click Belly Drum so bad right now. As thankfully, they do click the Belly Drum because in the previous battle, I did showcase that my Ogerpon has the Mirror Herb item, which will allow me to copy the Snorlax's Belly Drum without even needing to use Belly Drum myself. Like, I just get a free +6 attack. Like, Mirror Herb is such a funny item. And now we're gonna pass the life orb over with Symbiosis, which was actually an accident. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to keep my life orb for the Tinkaton, but like, I just have the scariest Ogerpon now, which is really funny. So they're gonna Terrify their Snorlax. Low-key, like, I probably still would have killed it with the Ivy Cudgel, but it's okay. I go for the Ivy Cudgel into Urshifu. As we're able to live a Wicked Blow, I really should be faster than Urshifu. I don't know why I'm not. I might re-EV this Ogerpon to be faster than Urshifu, and just base 100s in general like Chi-Yu. But I go for the Encore Y into the Snorlax, locking it into the Belly Drum. So that's really unfortunate for the opponent because now they are locked into the Belly Drum. And I could just go for the Terra with my Ogerpon, giving us a speed increase. So now we can outpace the Urshifu and knock it out with an Ivy Cudgel. So we're going to get a speed increase with the Ogerpon and go for the Ivy Cudgel into the Urshifu, knocking it out in one hit. You're probably like, why aren't you targeting down this +6 Snorlax? Well, it's because my Oranguru does have more synergy with this team with this Foul Play. We have Foul Play with Terra Dark to avoid Prankster taunts from, Tornadus, and also just, synergize with Swagger into the opponent as well. It's a really nice combo, and unfortunately for the opponent, they kind of mental boomed and they race quit after their redirection setup got obliterated. But I figured I would save this battle for last just because, like, it was such a satisfying way to demolish, like, Follow Me Belly Drum. Like, it was just really funny. I just had, like, the perfect matchup for it. So, yeah, I understand the race quit there. Hopefully you all enjoyed that final battle. Here is the rental code if you want to try this team out yourself. I do understand that the Indigo disc released, so this team will be outdated with the meta and stuff, but some people might still want this team for themselves. It is really fun to use once you get a hang of the team. There is more leads you can do besides, Oranguru, Ogerpon. That's just Follow Me Trick Room. You can do Fake Out Trick Room with Iron Hands or Tinkaton next to Oranguru. You can also do, Tinkaton or Ogerpon next to Tornadus and go for the Swagger strategy. You could even do like Ursaluna next to Tornadus for, Tailwind Turbo Bear mode. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with this team. It's not just Oranguru Ogerpon lead. That just happened to be most of the battles I showcased in this video. But it's definitely not the most viable team in the world. I wouldn't say this team would top cut a tournament. It's just a fun team I wanted to throw together to showcase some mechanics with the Instruct Gigaton Hammer. And speaking of Instruct Gigaton Hammer, my Tinkaton is trained to where you can go for the Instruct Gigaton Hammer combo inside a Trick Room and outside a Trick Room. Say you lead Tornadus Tinkaton and then have Oranguru in the back. Oranguru will be slower than Tinkaton, but under Trick Room, once the room service activates, then Oranguru is faster than Tinkaton, so you can go for the Instruct Gigaton Hammer despite Trick Room being up or off. As long as you just pay attention to the speed tiers, Like, you gotta pay attention to the speed tiers. Like, Bleak Windstorm can reduce your speed, Icy Wind can reduce your speed and then mess up the combo, so that can be annoying. And then Tornadus also has Icy Wind as well, just because even after Tailwind, Ursaluna might be a little too slow, so the Icy Wind extra speed control can give you the little edge you need to outpace some stuff. So yeah, that's basically the rundown of the team. If you have any other questions about the team, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll leave a PokePaste in the description if you want to see the exact EV spreads for this team in case you want to like take some notes yourself, you know, I'll leave that there as well. With the Indigo Disc being released, there'll be a lot of discussion about Pokemon in my Discord, so definitely check out my Discord and Twitter if you haven't already. So yeah, thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. I should be live streaming the Indigo Disc DLC when this video is out, so definitely come by and say hi, as we'll be having a fun time playing the DLC. So hopefully I'll see you there, but if not, I'll check you all in my next video.